They're just going to have one deck that really punches through. And it looks like they're favoring Temple Mage in this position, and that is a deck that has a lot of sweep potential, as we've seen twice over the Trinity series, TJ.
Yeah, I like the points that you made, and that sort of counter strategy is also quite dependent on winning the first game. Because if you just have a counter strategy, then you're just going to go 1 for 1, and in that case, the team that wins the first game is going to have an advantage. So we'll see, though. Temple Mage, I believe this is the first time that we're seeing G2 on Temple Mage, but this week has been a first-time Temple Mage for a lot of teams. I'm pretty sure almost every team has played Temple Mage with the exception of Team Liquid, who played Freeze Mage yesterday in their match. So no Reno Mages this week, which is so far, which is really cool to see, because Reno Mage was, almost an automatic, a guaranteed Mage pick coming into the weeks until Luminosity.
Well, it's too early to say. We'll figure out if Temple Storm brings a Reno Mage or a Freeze Mage or a Temple Mage themselves. In the meantime, let's go ahead and tune in to hear how Temple Storm is planning for the first few turns, and then we'll hop over to G2.
Hopefully bad hand. Different lines here.
I don't hate the Coin Jade Blossom. No, Innervate Jade Blossom is the Coin Jade Spirit, Jade Spirit.
But then we never play the Idol.
Yeah,
I guess
let's just Idol here.
Idol's
fine.
Flexible.
Yeah, Idol's fine here.
But you have to ramp, okay, you can still go over it. If you don't ramp now, what turn you want to play the Jade Blossom next turn?
Yeah, we
And
just
save the
play
Innervate?
next turn.
Yeah.
So the only thing
Spirit comes out later.
Yeah, save the Innervate.
Okay.
Yeah, I like the idea of saving Innervate too. I think it's just more important this way.
Yeah, we just ping that, but don't do it instantly. Think about it a bit. Because maybe you let them think that we have to drop.
Yeah. I don't know how much they play with reading, but sure.
This is kind of like the nut draw what we have. This is Reno Mage.
Yeah, this is actually pretty gross.
We have the full Jade train.
Okay. Is it missiles?
Is it missiles? I don't know why missiles is better than blast against Druid.
Blast is like a better card than missiles, but missiles we require to hit one.
Yeah, but come on, if we are not gonna hit one here.
Yeah, then we just missiles. I mean, sure, right?
Yeah, we have to beat missiles, I think. But what do you think, Radu?
Yeah, I would missiles, and if we don't hit anything, we just probably blast it, or just blast it if we don't hit anything.
Yeah,
I think blast is way better than missiles because we can spell power blast like Drake, and that's like a power swing.
Yeah, missiles here. I'll go with the missiles, Adrian. Adrian? Adrian?
Disconnected, I think.
Adrian?
You disconnect.
Adrian, hello.
I think Lifecoach is disappointed that the health goes down instead of the numbers going up.
Really tilting them. But it looks like we have a disconnect from G2. Bummer for Temple Storm because they had the nuts.
They had the best hand, essentially. And it's a crazy combination of two things. One, they have the ideal hand, and two, Mage had a terrible hand. They had nothing really going on. They're off coin. They don't have any early drops. They have all removal, and it's like a really dominant position for Temple Storm. It's actually very hard to come back if you're a Temple Mage in that position.
Yeah, once you lose the board, especially once the board starts to get big from Jades, not I was going to say Jade Spirits, but it doesn't matter, Jade anything. It can get tough to stifle the board and build up your own pressure. But we'll see. We'll try and get Lifecoach back. The ruling for Trinity series is if you have multiple disconnects, then you're forced to let your teammates play your decks for you. So that would mean RDU and Tice would basically take Lifecoach's decks and play them. Lifecoach would still be permitted to stay in the call and encouraged to communicate and things like that. But we'll see if we can get him back online. It is going to be a regame. Very early on in the game, not much happened. Our ruling is the same as all Hearthstone tournaments. Unless there's lethal present on board, then it is a regame in the case of a disconnect.
Okay, so they're going to go. I don't think it's going to get much better than Tempo Storm's hand, but the Tempo Mage has a lot to make up. Now, a lot of people might start thinking, well, how do they know it's Tempo Mage? The primary reason is you wouldn't counter queue Reno Mage into J-Drew. That's just actually like a bad choice. So they have to assume that's some kind of aggressive mage in general. I think if you're a freeze mage, you might have a better chance than Reno Mage, but it's still a pretty tough matchup if they ramp up really well, and they're also playing, Ragnaros and Feral Rages. That's a really bad choice too. So I'm pretty sure Tempo Storm is locked in and knows that this is Tempo Mage.
Yeah, which could, it probably affected their mulligans in the last match, but we'll see if they can get that hand, similar hand back. Can you do it twice in a row? I don't know.
It's not really up to them to decide, DJ, unfortunately. It's not like, well, I'm going to make sure I draw the same exact cards. If it was, if we had physical control over it, then perhaps, or we can resume from replay, but that's just not the case.
Not the case. Don't have the technology yet. But while we wait for Lifecoach to get back online, let's go ahead and take a look once more at the standings and what these teams have to gain and have to lose with wins here. The 4 teams still left in contention for the final 2 playoff spots are Complexity, G2, Luminosity, and Tempo Storm. G2 with a win in this series would secure their spot. Let's go ahead and take a look at those specific scenarios for each of those teams to be able to qualify. And again, first off comes down to a win, but Tempo Storm also has to rely on some losses. So not only do they have to perform in this match, they also have to hope that Cloud9 performs in the match later on against Luminosity.
Yeah, so while G2 really just punches their ticket by winning versus Tempo Storm, if Tempo Storm is able to win, they eliminate G2, but they're still not necessarily in themselves. It still could be Complexity and Luminosity. There's only 3 outcomes that can happen today. Either Complexity and Luminosity get in, Complexity and G2 gets in, or Tempo Storm... G2 and Luminosity get in, or Tempo Storm and Complexity. Not really in anything in between, unfortunately, because of the way the tiebreakers work. If you have the same exact record, then it goes by games won. If you have the same exact games won, then it goes based off of how many losses you have, because we do win percentage differential. And we haven't actually shown you the games lost because I don't know if it'll really matter in the end. It just comes down to what's the record, because I think the bare minimum, if you win the series, get you 6 wins in the game column, and that should do all the tiebreakers for us.
Well, we did get word that Lifecoach, while he's back, his internet is not 100% stable yet, so we are going to go with the scenario I mentioned earlier. Tice is going to take over the mage. RDU will take over Lifecoach's second deck, at least until Lifecoach is
back online.
Deems that his internet is stable enough. But he will be a part of the call, as far as I'm told. And he'll be communicating still. It'll just be Tice piloting the mage deck going into the remake in a few moments instead of Lifecoach. So
yeah, and I guess in the meantime, we'll probably just have Tice and RDU talking. Lifecoach might peace out until he's able to get his internet out.
He's in the call.
Oh, he's in the call?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you said that he wasn't able to.
His connection is just not stable enough for him to play confidently, knowing without worrying about a disconnect. So to be safe, just going to have Tice pilot instead of him. Doesn't really affect too much. I think Tice and Lifecoach probably have about equal experience on Tempo Mage. It's a deck that I haven't seen either of them play that much.
Yeah.
So
I think the pilot only matters for teams that primarily rely on a specific shot caller or decision maker. Depends on what you want to label them as. There's a lot of teams that specifically just go by a vote system, and you always win 2-1 to some degree. Sometimes some people say neutral, like I don't care, but more often than not, you're going to have someone that's primarily like pushing the vote in a specific way, and then they just do whatever is the majority. It almost doesn't really matter who's piloting. However, some teams say, you're the pilot, you're making decisions. If you need any questions, just ask us and refer to us for our opinion, which is also an interesting style of play.
Yeah. Take a look at the win percentages here. This is a total game wins over total game losses. It pretty much pans out exactly how the standings pan out, like you would expect. G2 and Team Liquid, pretty much the top 2 teams going into this week, I'd say, have the highest win percentage. the two teams qualified right now, Team Liquid versus Pro, sitting up there. There's a chance with G2 and if Luminosity and G2 win their matches today, the 4 highest win rate teams would be the 4 going to the finals, which makes a lot of sense.
That should be the way it works,
Yeah.
TJ.
Well, you know, it's not always, because Complexity has a less than 50% win rate, and they could end up making it despite having the 3rd worst win rate if G2 or Temple or Luminosity loses today. So Complexity could end up making it to the playoffs with a sub 50% game win rate.
Well, Temple Storm still has a pretty good hand. They have Wild Growth and Jade Spirit and Nourish, but G2's hand has gotten 100 times better. Like, the fact that they have the coin, they have Mana War, Man Sorcerer's Apprentice, they even can coin into Barnes if they get something really powerful off of it. Something, saying Emperor Thorsan or Ragnaros Shot or a Flame Waker, then the world opens up significantly for G2. So their hand is very, very good right now. And Temple Storm, they have a pretty good hand. I guess the only problem is that it's very slow. So using Nourish for card draw or ramp is going to really need them to have some better tempo swings in the future turns.
Job's done.
Yeah, this is a little bit slower of a start. So we'll see. G2 Esports does need some spell support for these minions. Mana War and Sorcerer's Apprentice benefit a lot from cheap spells.
Yeah, that's one of them.
Arcane Missiles is a cheap spell.
So the thing about G2's hand is that Mana Worm is not going to explode at the gate, just like you said. So they're going to have to budget their resources. Go ahead and listen in and see what the teams are talking about in these first couple turns.
It's really good against the early Jades, and it's really good with Mana Worm and with the Sorcerers.
The Arcane Missiles, yeah. We can even Sorcerer's Apprentice and then maybe even, yeah, okay.
Yeah, just Sorcerers, right?
And attack phase. No missiles, right? Never.
No, never. You want missiles for their first Jade. It's already enough pressure. Like, now they have to like remove your minion instead of like playing their own. And then
Yeah, just got a J Spirit.
I mean, the only thing with idle, but the range is too small that we can get something that is.
Actually, we can get swipe.
Yeah, but then we could also the idle next turn. What's the point?
Yeah, next turn we can swipe and still be fine, and then have Aya follow up.
Yeah.
I got a Blast. I got a second Apprentice.
do you ever play the second Apprentice? I don't know if you do.
I'm thinking of
coin.
I'm thinking of coin, Apprentice, missiles, just all. But
Missiles Blast, and you want a Frostbolt face or what?
Frostbolt the 2/3, or do you want to blast it and hope for missiles?
No, I think it's too aggressive. I would just like Frostbolt missiles. But isn't just Frostbolt missiles enough? Do we need to like go coin Sorcerers, blast the?
Yeah, no. The coin. I don't like the coin use. I wouldn't mind having Apprentice here, but I don't like that we use the coin for that.
But you might also miss the 2-1. I would just Frostbolt. I think it's just fair. Frostbolt missiles and hope you hit, and then you just go for face. It's
Yeah.
powerful.
Yeah, it's powerful enough.
And
It's
you
also
keep the
nice.
coin for once.
Yeah.
And if we would have played the Sorceress, we would have played one more spell, so more damage, and the 3/2 on the board, right?
Yeah.
So 2 combos.
Yeah,
But for that we
I
lose
think
the
it's
coin.
too all-in. It's too all-in, I think. You want the coin for Barnes because you might get like Flame Waker, you might get Archmage
Antonidas.
Antonidas.
I also like that we now.
Yeah, well, this is not looking good. I think Temple Storm has Bite as their best removal for a 1-mana minion.
Job's done.
Yeah, and G2's got Barnes to follow this up into Emperor Thorsan, and what makes Barnes even more threatening is the fact that they have follow-up spells, so if they get like Antonidas or something crazy, okay, well, I guess they can't get Antonidas anymore.
And you can still get like Rag or...
Yeah, Rag could also just be like threatening game-ending damage.
Flamewaker's pretty good.
Yeah. Swipe could still bail Temple Storm out in this position.
Oh! Well, they can get a board reset, but then they're going to have to deal with Emperor.
Yeah, and then they still have an opportunity to get Mulch or second Swipe. I guess the problem is that they can't take any more damage at this point.
Yeah.
And they have to figure out a way to remove and get back onto the board. Even if they were able to squeeze out a Jade Idol this turn, that would have been really helpful, but they can't. So the Coin Emperor is really strong. You make Arcane Blast 0, and you have Blast Mage Thanos, or Blast Mage, Blood Mage Thanos to combine with it.
Blast Mage!
Blast Mage Thanos is not that card. Nor is it a card of the upcoming expansion or anything. I don't know anything about that.
Raptor Blast Mage. We spoiled it. We're so sorry, Blizzard. Well, they can iron.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Well, let's go and listen to Temple Storm. See how spirits are in that camp.
We can't draw for any removal or anything we have, so I want to play.
Maybe we just Drake?
So I really like them spell damage. Yeah. I also wouldn't mind maybe even playing Telnos to cycle Telnos.
You could always play Antonidas, Arcane Blast the 2/2 and go Emperor into the 3/3. This is pretty awkward for him.
Is it?
But then we are like kind of left with an awkward hand with Apprentice.
I would also just go face if you do that line. I mean, if you do this line, I would definitely prefer to go face.
What I like is Ezra Drake, blast the 3/3.
Oh, but then you do the blast for the fireball. You lose the blast for the Antonidas. Yeah.
Maybe we just Antonidas. Is it too risky?
I wonder whether we don't lose too many fireballs. I mean, we can also just go Ezra Drake. I mean, Ezra Drake, Blood Mage, and then just go face and see what happens. And then next to the Antonidas.
I like Ezra Drake in general here.
Yeah, do Ezra Drake.
I have an image. I have an image. Can I blast now?
No image. Just to you can just do Thanos and face. Just go Thanos and face.
Yeah. I agree.
Okay.
100%.
Just trying to find draw. Is this where we just have to find mulch, not mulch for rage?
This is probably a mulch turn.
Like mulch.
I kind of like hero power and you get out of the fireball frostbolt range. And we play the brand and hero power.
Yeah, I think that's okay, right? Like we don't expect double fireball, 2 discounts, so Firelance Portal is 5, fireball is 2. They can still do that. Unless the Firelance Portal was the card they just drew. They'd have to have both discounted.
Alright.
Who knows what secrets will uncover?
Yeah, here's the mulch. Also pretty clear.
Tyrion. Is that? Oh, Frostball. That's really good. So Antonidas, Sorceress, maybe.
Oh yeah, sure, absolutely.
Oh, a blast even. Oh my god.
You're kidding me, right? That's so sick.
Yeah, just go Antonidas, Sorceress, Image. I don't know. I would kill the Bran. But like blast the.
What can Bran do here?
Crossbow the Bran.
I would also.
You can have like Feral Regent, like a Jade guy, and then it might be like a little bit of trouble, but not that much.
No, you can also kill Bran. I mean, what's the problem, right? You just double arc and blast it. I don't mind.
And then Frostbolt the 3/2, I think.
Yeah. Oh, what's this 3/2? No, I would Frostbolt face.
Why do we Frostbolt face? We have lethal with 12.
Yeah.
What is the third rage? Is that something? Or?
Yeah, but now we still have the Antonidas. Like, this is the turn they cannot Feral Rage yet.
I would Frostbolt the 3/2.
Yeah, you can also Frostbolt the 3/2. You don't want the Frostbolt 4/4? No, okay, whatever.
It doesn't matter that much. It's good anyways, right?
It's quite clean. Haha. 4/5.
Haha, yeah. That's what happens when Thais plays.
That's when Thais gets to Tempo Mage.
Aha.
Yeah, that's quite the hand. 4 fireballs and Tyrion. If you amassed all of that burn, including the Tyrion weapon, that's, 39? A nice, cool 39. Not to mention that you can't even kill the Antonidas right now. So I think Temple Storm is just toasty toast. They can't choose both. They can't remove Emperor Antonidas, and they can't gain enough health. Unless it was specifically mulch, innervate, feral rage, I think they were just dead. So that's going to wrap up game 2, and that's a tied series 1-1.
Yeah, it's a real bummer for Temple Storm. You can see Justsaiyan pretty upset about that one. But
Yeah, it's just tough. You know, it's one of those things that it's been part of